See if this is going live here. How's it going, guys? Okay. Working on some coloring tonight for this commission here. I haven't really recorded too much stuff of this coloring process that I've been doing lately. So I figured it'd be good to do two birds stoned at once. of just a mental note of how we were doing it, and anybody that's interested in doing it themselves kind of thing. I'd recommend checking out, what is this guy's name? Patrick Brown. Excuse me. I learned a lot of stuff from him. Try to follow some tutorials and things that have some process of his stuff, and I dig it. It's it feels good. It's sort of cell shaded, mixed with the sort of the old JESOP stuff that I was doing before. All that kind of fun stuff. But yeah. This is a commission for somebody. I don't want to talk too much about it. I know these characters, they look pretty generic, so I feel like it's okay to stream. And I do know that one of the people that, or the person that is getting this, does check out my stuff. So if you see this and you get it, hopefully you dig it. Okay, so I have this bounce light layer on there. I was just messing around with this. We'll change this at some other point. But if I just delete all this, just so you guys can kind of see the process here. So you got your flats. You put one layer of like an airbrushed shadow. This sort of just gives it some volume without anything really being on there. Then we go ahead and we add our cell shading. We add a second layer of cell shading. This one's like a lighter one. We don't go nuts with this one. And then we do the exact same thing with highlights. So a soft brushed highlight. Then we just do our cell shading and our cell shading. Then if you can see over here, I believe it's showing up. There might be a whole bunch of crap covering it, but there's a clipping mask. So you can sort of do this, erase tool onto it. If I just turn that off, you can see it's just flat, right? But when you put a little bit of a layer mask over top, you can sort of like blend that stuff out. So I think he's pretty much done. We're going to do the lady tonight. And then, like I said, we're going to put some rim light. That was just a test. And some bounce light. I'm not sold on the background. That's just more placeholder for now. And we'll see how it goes when we get there. Alright, so let's see here. Let me select this girl here. Turn off our selection. Go over here. And hers is down here. What do I have? Is that 50? Turn that off. We'll just start coloring it in. Also, too, I should say, for those that are interested, man, I can never remember anybody's name, especially like it's been so long since we've been doing YouTube stuff, right? Let me see if I can pull him up. He always usually shows up. It's for comic coloring. He's always showing up in my feed whenever he goes live. Color with Kurt. Now, I couldn't tell you the name of the video that he had, but it's a really cool one where, so how do I describe this? Back when I was doing JESOP, a lot of the stuff I was working on was just these. You guys can't even see it. Here, let me move this down so you can see it. Just these two colors here. So we got a shadow color, and then this is our highlight color. The shadow is set to multiply, and then the highlight I put on a overlay or add glow in Clip Studio. And all I would do is I'd do my flats, and then I would just go ahead and just knock in some quick shadows and all that stuff. Didn't really worry about flats and stuff too much, but after watching his video, there was 3 things, and I believe these should show up for you. And I've been using them pretty much for everything I color in nowadays, especially when there's a couple characters in there. But just being able to select something and not having to like click multiple layers. Normally in my workflows, it's not a big deal, but now that I've started doing it, I notice it when it's not there, like I miss it. So I feel like I should really turn off this. You know what? Here, let me turn this obnoxious stuff off here. We don't need ads anymore, right? Where is this stuff to check out? Let's turn that off. Let's turn this whole thing off. We don't need that. There we go. Now we can actually see some stuff. Let me put this over here. Cool. Okay. So these layers over here why they're so cool is like just being able to have a selection. Like, you know, once I get all my coloring done, if I wanted to start adding in a little bit more shadow or push or pull things, I don't need to make continuous selections. Most people that are doing flats, you guys probably already do this kind of thing. I've just been so lazy that I've just figured out ways to not have to do it. But now that I am doing it, like I say, it just speeds things up. So I can always just select, you know, him, or if I just want her, that's fine. And then in our flats, you know, if I want, in Clip Studio, you can do these like reference layers, and I've seen people do them, but again, I've never really paid much attention to it. But if I select my wand to that, like let's just say I want everything that's blue on this guy, no problem. It's all selected, all the yellow. I just want her whip. You know, it's normal comic book stuff that I just been so lazy about. But now that I keep saying it, but now that I have started using them, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the business right here, man. Anyway, I select her. I made a shortcut so I can just hide the selection and then just color it like normal. So the reason I brought that up is we'll see some more of that as we color for sure. See it come into play. Because like there's even stuff I do at the day job where it's a little bit more, I'll say painterly, and I've found that it still definitely helps to have like a selection layer on there. But anyway, yeah, color with Kurt. Check his stuff out if you're interested in. You know, comic coloring I know is different than like concept art and painting, but there's a lot of bleed and rollover. Coloring is coloring, right? We've all got like a shortcut for something. All right, get this here. And I've been saying this for a few. If you guys go back to some of the videos that come out like once every month or two, I talk about like, oh, you know, once I start doing this, I want to do it more, and then time goes on, and then I just get super relaxed into just being okay. Work's done. Maybe we'll do a little bit of drawing tonight, or we'll just play a card game or something. But really like to figure out something to contribute. Like we used to do on here. Just different on YouTube, man. Like I go around and I can see. I watch some art channels and man, it's like I'm not even sure what to talk about anymore. I know there's like just doing what I'm doing right here, where it's just streaming for the sake of it. And I guess that's fine too. I wonder if there's anything extra we could do, something a little different. I'm not quite sure what that would be. Outside of like, I think for me anyway, the peak fun on the channel was when I was working on JESOP and I was, you know, working so much every day. I go to my day job and then I'd come home and spend another X amount of hours just working on comics and stuff. That was fun. I know a lot of you guys were here too, and that was like a wonderful distraction to be able to just chat with you guys. And I miss that stuff. Not sure how I feel about that hat. This might be too much detail. We'll see. We'll see how this detail goes once we start pulling it back. Okay, now this hair. Try something like that. Sort of color in chunks, and then we'll go in there with our lasso. We'll start putting in some like what's it called? Some fun lines, we'll call them. Hey Kuzo, how's it going, brother? You are one of the few people that I still check out your videos. So thank you for saying hi tonight. Your art just keeps getting better and better. It's very inspirational, man. So thank you for sharing. I learned a lot just by watching it too. Steal all your stuff. So the color for her hair is all jacked, right? What I like to do is just pick a color. Usually it's like a purplish blue, and then we'll go ahead and we'll slap all our shadows on with this. But then because I have those selection layers, I'm gonna go back and be able to like tint it, a more appropriate color, right? Like she's very light blonde, so we're gonna go in there and maybe turn it a little bit more orange, or we'll see. I saw a video, or I listened to a video in the background while I was at work today. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's I don't even know what the date of it was, but I watch clips from Asmongold. If anybody likes his stuff, that's how I found it. But it was this guy talking about what was the title? Something about like toxicity, or the toxic something of like self improvement and gurus and all that stuff. And I was interested in that because I would, if you guys remember back again in the JESOP days, and even before then, I know I even have a couple videos, older videos now on my channel of like how, because I would get a lot of questions of people asking at the time, like, oh, how do you find the time, or what's your process, what's the structure, and everybody just likes getting a little edge or figuring out like something works for one person, it might work for somebody else, right? But it was a lot of that kind of stuff with like the Pomodoro technique and coming home from work, and then how would I schedule my time so that I could still relax and yada yada. But and I should emphasize, this is before I had a kid, right? Like that's still a whole spider's nest of trying to figure out. I don't even know, man. That's like things have changed so much in that direction. Anyway, but I think as somebody that was really into pursuing comics, it was like you always heard things of, I don't want to say don't have hobbies, but really you just want to keep working as hard as you can, and it lends itself really well into like that hustle, grind, hard work mindset stuff. So I started following a bunch of processes and stuff that people were recommending, and it helped me a lot. But anyway, the reason I just wanted to front load that because the idea of, here, hold on, I think something's wrong with her face. This might screw some stuff up. But it was along the lines of, like how it's, I don't want to say a lie, because I don't think it's a lie, but the dude was just, it was kind of, I don't want to even say it was clickbaity. It was more just a dude's opinion. And I was interested in it. How's that look? Is that... Yeah, this might be fine. Anyway, so I was watching it, and it was actually kind of interesting. The guy was, I noticed a lot of what he was saying is sort of like where I ended up going with stuff too, where it was like, hard work is always important. It's the keystone of anything, really, right? Is find something you really enjoy and just work really hard. But it was that I don't want to say addictive quality necessarily, but you can always be better. You can always improve, right? And I would watch stuff, and I think it'd be a great idea, like the Pomodoro stuff. Yeah, that's gonna help me, sit down and draw more, and do more work and all that cool stuff. Hey, no problem. Thanks for the kind words, dude. So yeah, it was that kind of stuff, and then once you're done, you get that dopamine hit, like the guy was talking about in the video, and you're like, man, I can't wait to start exercising or start writing down my plans and yada yada, all these things, and you get that hit, And then you'd start to find, you know, a little bit later, you'd go and you'd find more videos or whatever. But I was definitely in that camp. Not all the time, but it's definitely something that was there. Yeah, anyway, I think it was a really cool video to watch. And I know my mind has shifted these days. That whole hustle and whatever, like I don't even care about that anymore. It's so boring. Now that I've had a kid and like a family, I'm like, this is so much better for me. I'd never tell anybody else what they should do, but definitely more happy. Not worrying about necessarily grinding for like this self-imposed end game of sorts that never ends. That's not to say, you know, I'm not trying to still find work and stuff like that. It's just it's different. It's different. But yeah, anyway, all that's to say, I'm not quite sure what like. That's why I sort of feel like I don't really do much videos anymore, or you know, like I still talk to cats and stuff that you know pop online and when we do these rando streams and stuff, which is always a lot of fun because it's socializing with artists and stuff. You know, I've known a lot of you guys for a while now, so it's great to catch up, see how you all are doing. Even if some of you I know, like Kuzo here, you know, got your own channel and stuff, so I get to hang out vicariously that way and stuff. But it's not the same. But I don't know what my place is anymore with. You know, like I don't know what advice I could give if anybody even cares about that anymore. If it's just process like this, of just hanging out. What's the point of doing it? You know, like I know before it was sort of like a mixed bag. Like I always want to help people, of course, pay it forward for other people that help me and stuff. But at the same time, it's sort of like you know, there's that argument to build your audience and all that. But I don't even know if I'm like I really want to pursuing that anymore. So it's I don't know. It's odd. I don't know if anybody else is going through this or has already gone through it or is thinking about it. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's just taking on another project or something, you know. Yeah, force myself to kind of come on here for some reason. 'Cause lately, I've been getting a kick out of doing. If you guys have been following my stuff, like look at anywhere online, like I'm posting like RPG stuff and all this, you know, nonsense. Hey, Aaron, how's it going, man? Thanks for popping in. I'm doing like pinups and you know all that kind of stuff. Just in a different, I don't know, somewhere else these days. Anywho, let's keep going. All right, so she's kind of coming along. How's it look with this on there? Yeah, okay. Really tempted to just putting her whole arm in shadow back here. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I'll do that. And then I'll cut out some light just to really push it further back. Hopefully to make her pop a little bit more. There we go. Go this way. Yeah, just to really sell that it's back there. And I'm going to have some strong bounce light in there somewhere. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to... I was going to carve out some light, but I think I'm going to leave it this way. Because it's like this dude, how he's got some sort of bounce light going on him, or rim light. I guess I'll put a bounce light underneath him somewhere, but she's going to have the same sort of deal. So I'll be able to highlight it that way. So just move on. What's new with you guys? Do you guys find it YouTube's a little different these days? You guys still come on here for the same stuff? Okay, I gotta be careful. I don't want to make her... She's a superhero, but I don't want to make her too ripped. Kill all this here. been debating too. So with my simpler Kirby stuff, and I've been open with you guys too about this, and I don't know if it's just necessarily like a bleed from people that are into comics, that kind of like Kirby-esque style things, or what. But I've been getting a lot of positive feedback, which has been wonderful. So I definitely want to keep doing that because it's a lot of fun to draw. And this kind of stuff here, this is like my more traditional stuff. This kind of thing gets requested when I do commissions. I don't necessarily do this kind of art anymore unless it feels right. Like I want to just kind of go in here and do a more traditional thing. You guys all know I'm a process junkie, so I'm always trying different things all the time. But things start to feel like a comfortable glove, and then you get in there, and I always know I can default back to this, and it feels really good to be able to do that. And I like to return to this sort of thing. But the Kirby kind of stuff has been like so much fun. But part of me just wants to like keep doing role-playing game artwork. Just gotta try to figure out a way to get people to see it a little bit more. I'm not sure how to necessarily bridge that, but we'll see. I don't even know how many people, like I keep trying to say, is like I know the audience that I have usually is everybody that still followed me from comics when Manga Studio was kind of dropping. I definitely remember there was a huge influx of people. It's like all of a sudden digital comic creation started to like really start booming. I remember just being hungry for like content. People drawing in Photoshop, or like how does that even work? It just seems so weird now. That's almost like it's just the standard, I find anyway. And then from there it was so people looking for tips and tricks. And then it was what else was it after that? Definitely comics. Oh, in the beginning it was all like tutorial stuff, right? That's like early YouTube. Everybody looking for how to draw hands and heads and stuff like that. To that point, I know there's still content for that out there these days, but I feel like it's not the same. I don't really know what people are looking for these days. Maybe it's just entertainment. People just want to be entertained. I could see that being more drives people. Anyway, okay. So she's super simple here, right? Like I think she's done. That was easy. Just got to do her wand, or not her wand, her lasso. So I'm gonna turn this back on just so I can see where I had my shadows, and then we're going to paint in some shadow here. I hope who this is for, they dig it. It's been a lot of fun to work on. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to oops. I'm going to grab just the wand. Why do we keep calling it a wand? The whip. Hey Chris, glad to catch us live. I have to watch the sound down though. Oh, why? What's up? Too loud? People sleeping? Okay, so we do that, and then I'm going to duplicate that layer. And, oops. Delete that. And then this layer, we just sort of do the exact same thing, but like a lot darker. And only in certain areas. It's sort of like where things overlap. Don't go nuts with this one. It's sort of like just an accent layer. Just to really push some things back. Okay. So next step here, so we're just going to knock back these shadow colors. Just a touch. I think we're going to need to brighten up some of this stuff. Just feels a little too dark. That's better. Okay, cool. So we got that. Yeah, I think we're okay. Let me just change some of these colors here before I get into the highlights. So we're going to make her hair a little bit more yellow. Maybe not that much. Maybe somewhere in there. I'm going to punch up the saturation and stuff in a bit. That pink is alright, actually. Yeah, that might be alright. I think we'll do some lasso color a little bit. Alright. Let's do our highlight here. Sort of just hitting those areas where I want your eye to go a little bit, you know. And this isn't like a layer to spend too much time on. It's just a I was gonna call it a glaze, but like a soft brush, you know, kind of just put over top. A glaze. Alright, so let's get our, is this going to go into the shadows here? So we go here. Yeah, okay. Let's save that up. Alright, so this little step here, things are going to look a little garish. But we'll be able to pull out of this back. This took some getting used to be honest, and I'm still not fully there. Where you're painting in, it's weird because shadows, I feel like when I'm doing cell shaded, I can just sort of just leave them thick, you know, and like solid. Whereas highlights, I almost want to just do that gradient, right? Like it blends into light. It's weird. So getting comfortable coloring like or drawing like this is it's been a challenge, but I'm getting there. I know it's sort of like when we were doing the Freddy method stuff, you know, pretty much how this one was drawn. It's like getting used to drawing in phases, and you know what it's going to look like at the end. So just kind of powering through, not trying to nitpick as you're doing it. If that makes any sense. It's this kind of stuff that's a little tricky. Sort of like feeling out where that highlight's going. And then we're going to erase. Some of this one might just go all the way. If I don't like it as it's coming along. Hey PJ, how's it going, man? How's things? Things are really good, my man. Thanks for asking. How are you? All right, let's try cleaning some of this up here. So, I'm going to just drop the opacity because we don't need everything so bright. We're going to, whoops. Keep forgetting I have a selection there. So we go there. Now we're going to use our airbrush to erase some of this stuff out. So, hopefully, like, just lightly. It's almost like it blends it, turns it into gradients a bit, you know what I mean? So things don't look so garish. Unless you want them to. I want this to blend a bit more. That looks a little better. I'm going to change the lip color because I'd like her lips to pop a little bit more. And then here, I just want to sort of fade this section back so it makes it look like the light's coming at us. Does that make sense? I can't really describe it without a camera here, but like the things are all bending towards the light here. Yeah, so there we go. I'm not going to do a second layer of that. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll adjust some of these colors here because the highlights, like, they don't make a lot of sense in some of the colors. Like in here, whoops. No reference layer. That's what we want. All right, so it's like it's desaturated a bit. It's a little more gray like that, yeah. Brown, I don't mind. The skin, you might want to change here. Let's take a look here. I think that's a little better. Then her lips. Just want them to be a little bit, like I said, a little bit more lipsticky. Let's punch up that saturation quite a bit. Maybe like that. Just a little more subtle. Okay. So they're pretty much done. But before we get into like the rim lights and all that good stuff, there's one other technique that we're going to do here to just sort of push some of this line art back. And then the other cool thing, like I said, is because we got those selections done, I'm going to be able to put like a little airbrush behind this hand so it fades her back so that it doesn't just look like a wall of color right here. PJ, I'm doing great these days. Thanks for asking. No problem, brother. Left the Navy for a software development job working for the Navy as a civilian. So I sold my art at... Oh, great, man. How'd that go? Sounds like, I don't know. Usually when somebody says what you're saying, it's good. I'm happy for you, brother. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to clip it to the layer below. And I have this brush. Again, this was something I saw from Patrick Brown. Got to give credit where credit is due. So there's two versions here. I used to use one that was like an airbrush. He uses Photoshop for this, so I had to figure out a way to do it in Clip Studio. It's not 100% the same as like how he does it, but it gives me an effect that's similar, that I don't mind it. So one's an airbrush where you can kind of do it more blendy, and then this one's more like a literal pressure sensitive thick brush, blobby. I like that one. And I'll show you what we're gonna do here. So it's like things like this. So we'll pick his face. I like picking the darkest colors here, so we're gonna use like this. We'll see. Sometimes I use that second shadow color, but we'll just try this one. And we're gonna lower it, and I'm just gonna try it with this here. So if I just lightly press down, should start kind of fading it a little bit. Just changing the color. Get some blue in his face. Hopefully we'll go back, fix that. And what it does is just sort of like pushes that line art back, right? So things don't look so... Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like if I turn that off, just softens things up a little bit. Normally I would never do that. It wasn't until I saw, again, those tutorials, I was like, oh, like I've seen people do this before, but I'm such a fan of line art. But the more I do what I'm doing, even at the day job and stuff like that, like pushing this stuff back, reducing the line art, it's just making things more visually appealing. My tastes are changing too, so it looks better to me, even though I know older me, younger me, I should say, I would have been like, hell no. Let's keep those lines, please. Like here, like we can really push some of those back. It's not every line, but it's just where I kind of want to soften things up a little bit. Like these cool texture lines, I can kind of paint them blue. All this detail line, I can fade that back, but still keeping the thick lines where I want them. Or like here would be heavy shadow. That might lighten up a little bit. Just a little bit. See, so it's just subtle stuff, but if I turn this off, you might not even really be able to notice it. It's sort of like a minimal detail that adds to the whole. You only really notice it when it's there, when it's done. If that makes any sense. Like because of everything else that's going on around it, it just sort of helps. At least I find that to be true. And even with the Kirby-ish sort of stuff that I've been doing lately, I've been doing this technique where I add this into it, and it just, I don't know, it just makes it feel more complete. Alright, let's get some of this yellow in here. And like all this neck muscle stuff, I can kind of push some of it back. You see? Not all of it. Just the stuff that's maybe a little bit too noisy. And it's more of a feel thing, I find. It's not like a formula. Okay, so if we... let me go here. I don't even know if this is really going to show up on your guys' screen because of the resolution, but turn it on and off. Just so subtle. It's great for hair, I'll tell you that. You really soften up that stuff. Okay. Get her going too, and then we can get into this rim light action. I'd like to be able to finish this up tonight. I don't want to say it's overdue, but I think the person would really enjoy it. Freshen up their week. Maybe if we... How's that? I don't mind that, to be honest with you. Just lighten up those eyes a bit. The con went well last year. That's why I'm doing it again. Fantastic, dude. When is the what is it? Sorry, at HalCon. Where is that? Is it Halifax? Is it Canadian? Oh, the old, yeah. No, this is 100% is my traditional stuff here. Absolutely. I like to get into this every now and then. Let me open up just to show you guys for a second. Not that any of you really need or care. But if this is like the Kirby stuff where, and again, I know some people, I'm not, again, directing this at UPJ because of your comment, but some people don't care for it. Some people like it, and, it's taste and preference. It's all good. Where was, yeah, I actually did, I should have recorded this. Something was telling me in the back of my head to record it. Halifax in October. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, part of me wants to get back into cons to do some just prints or something. Something simple. I remember there was always that draw back in the day of doing like make your own comic and sell it, but I'm not there, man. One day maybe, right? So this is like the Kirby style, and the coloring is exactly what we're doing right now. But if you look, it's the same kind of thing here. I'm just softening up the line art. I just wanted to see how it would look, and then in like these Metroid rip-off things, you know, obviously changing the color of your line art. But you see how it's like there's this fade in the black here. Let me see if I could turn this off. I don't know how. Is this set? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is the original colors, and then with the special effects and yada yada. But if I turn off, here's all black, solid black artwork, right? I like back in the day. This is just the good stuff here, right? But just adding a little hit. I don't know. I'm a fan. So that's like where that's going. And again, this is all pretty washed out background. I don't even know what color we're gonna use just yet. We'll change that. Oh, thank you for saying so, dude. Are you just selling chip? Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you find that going? I remember seeing Derek Loffman, and I was very fortunate to meet him in Windsor. That guy's cool. He's just an awesome guy. And I remember when I saw it, it was refreshing and upsetting at the same time. Part of me was like, these people selling prints. And then they look, they're like cash, like they're just, man, you're just cashing in on stuff. And it was I mean, I used to think that way. This isn't because of Derek, but I'm saying I used to think this way when I was really starting out in my comic stuff. Just a very ignorant way to think. And then as I grew older and got some experience and started understanding how life works and how money's important, it was like, these guys are so smart. And then I remember talking also to Tyler James when I was lucky enough to go to New York. When I did a comic with Comic Tribe called The Standard, which most of you guys probably know. That guy is a wealth of knowledge. And I remember him doing custom prints for New York. It was like these double page 11 by 17s you could get. And I think there was like 4 different heroes. And what he did is he had, I don't know the name of the baseball stadium where they play at. I'm not a sports guy, but basically drew the left side on one and the right side on another, so the backgrounds are the same. And the only thing that was different was the superheroes. So you could get one like on the left. On the left would have been like Batman, Spider-Man, it's Superman, and on the right was like Green Lantern, Wolverine, and Wonder Woman. So people would, if you see it and you want the set, you know what I mean? So you get whichever heroes you want on whichever side. And I was just seeing that stuff, and I'm like, this is where like you got to start thinking if you're going to a con if you're going there to make money, this is what you do. This is a good way to hopefully make some cash back. Because like I think everybody goes to a convention to make money, if you're able to. But the other thing too is like sometimes it's just like a networking trip, or a get your name out there sort of thing. Leave your playground of being a local artist wherever you are, and then just sort of going abroad, getting people to know you, just whatever. But anyway, from a money perspective, yeah, when I saw Derek Loffman stuff, I was like, oh, these chibis are so good. And to that, I would point, and I would say I've made the most money on Etsy selling prints that I've ever made going to a convention, and it's all been chibi stuff. And I've talked about this when I remember when COVID first dropped, and I was like, I just lost my job. What do I do? I gotta make money, and it was right to Chibi's. So I'm just saying that to let you guys know if anybody's watching, if you're interested, not necessarily to make Chibi's. I think Chibi's will always just be cute, and if it's cute, women will tend to like them as well, and more so than like your traditional style. At least it's been like that in my experience. So it opens you up to like more wallets. And again, if you're trying to make money, there's nothing wrong with making money, but if you're trying to make money, prints is a great way to go. I think to consider anyway, trying to do that stuff. Okay, I'm going to make another layer, merge that down, and I'm going to try to soften up this rope just a skimmage. Like all of this, I don't want black here. It's supposed to be rope, right? Not cool line art. It's a little tricky in here. It's okay if some of it's still black, right? It's more of how does it feel when you look at it, is what I'm going for. Let's go here. Let's make it nice and big. Cool. I turn that off, and yeah, that's better. Just pushes that rope back a little bit. I told people to call that if they couldn't afford $10 for a print, that they were more than welcome to download and print it themselves. I had my Instagram. Y'all, listen to you. Doing it right. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Good for you, man. I'm glad everything's going good with that stuff. Makes me happy hearing people going to cons and getting finding some success. You know, that's good, dude. Good for you. Whoops. So this pass is more like just to separate forms, right? Like that's a shoulder, that's a bicep, yada yada. No, man. You know, it's okay. Yeah, it's probably not smart for business. You're right. Uh, but at the same, well, it depends on what kind of business, right? I would argue, to your point, right? Like business is about making money, but it's also about networking. Let's put it this way, right? Like you've heard, and I'm only saying this just to like inflate your ego that you didn't do anything wrong. But you guys ever hear of like movie premieres and screenings and yada yada, where like celebrities will go and they get like gift bags, and in those gift bags it could be like a brand new iPhone and some other shit like that. People are giving that away for marketing, right? Promotional items, all that stuff. So that's because you're not one of them yet. It's no different. Like I don't know how many people wouldn't willingly go to a comic book convention, where like let's say Images, and you have a comic, and you wouldn't just give that comic to Image for free to go like, hey, maybe you'll like that. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. I think it's smart. You know. I think we'll put a little bit here on this back leg. Maybe we'll really load this side up too. Not quite sure how this will look. A little bit like that maybe. It's not awful. I mean, there's this whole candy feel to this damn thing. Not quite sure. uh, Need a bounce light. I'm only using white right now, guys, because it's easy to see. It won't stay this, and I'm gonna fade some of it too. It's almost like redrawing what you just drew. Okay. Yeah, no. No, 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 no. Let's get rid of this. Let's do this right. What am I doing? I'm all over the place on this one. All right, we got this guy here. Got the highlights, and I'm over here. I'm like doing doing the highlights all wrong. Let's fix that. Oh, hey, what's up, brother? No stream tonight? I know you just told me. When are you leaving? You're leaving tomorrow, right? Tomorrow morning? I forget today's Thursday. Hey, Shredder, how's it going? Hey, how are you? Long time no see. Everything's good, brother. Thanks for asking. Oh, you're leaving in an hour. Okay, damn. So, you, like I said, sorry. I thought, like, in my head, it's still whatever. Well, have a safe trip. Text me when you get there. Make sure you're all safe. Or else it's big mission time for dogs, relocation, and what have you, if the worst happens. Right, right. That's what you're saying. That's the part I forgot. Thanks. Yeah. I was paying attention, I promise. Should be a fun trip. Do we want to put any on the arm? We kind of have to, don't we? Don't we? Oh, your dad too? That's so bad. It's so bad and it's so true. This is that detail work that's just like, ugh. But if you don't do it, all right. So let's start fading some of this back. It's too hot. All right. So like I said, check this out. This is where it gets cool. So it's garish, right? But just like we were doing with the shadows, you can just kind of Bob Ross that stuff. And, just ease it in. Just ease it in like an old man slowly dipping into a warm bath. Just ease it. If I say it enough, hopefully enough people get a little shiver. Okay. Let's go there. This one's just no thanks. Let's pull that back. This one's kind of cool, but a little much. Make a selection here. And just cut that one a bit. The worst kind of drawing, dude. ASMR paints. Okay, so these highlights here, like white always seems to work, but I'm always like, I don't know if I want to use white. So we'll try to color it. Let's see. It's really important based on whatever the background's going to be, and I've got like this funky cotton candy crap that I don't think we'll be keeping. Okay, so before I pick that, let's just maybe fix that. What time is it? 9? Okay, we're going to get going soon. It's funny. Get rid of the background and things just start looking tighter. All right, so it's this hot mess. What do we got in here? All right, so we're going to do my favorite thing in the world. We are going to do a gradient map. It's cool, gradient maps. Yeah, I can't stand this one. It's really cool, gradient maps. This one's a LGBT yada yada set. But the colors are all over the place. So you can get some pretty nutty things. Like, I don't mind the blue. The blue feels kind of good. But there's like too much blue. So it's kind of like I have to go. There's too much blue and yellow in this, so I have to go like green and red or green and pink. That's not bad. Alright, let's check out some other ones. Ugh, this one's gonna be a little tough. And I definitely know like one of the problems could be just like the pattern that I got in the background. Space. Okay, these ones are pretty cool. These Jack Cloverway sets. What is this one? No. Somber shades. Sky. The blue looks so fresh though. You know what? Okay, so I'm going to save that one. I'm gonna duplicate it. Oh man, even duplicated looks good too. Oh god. Okay, I'll duplicate it again. I'll turn these off. Oh, the more I duplicate, the better it looks. Just so I have a little spot. It's actually I don't mind that one. That was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm in the same boat, man. Yeah. I think you're hitting it in the right spot. It's not bad either. This one I love. Doesn't work with what I got going on, but this one's always a really cool one. This is the fun part of streams, right? Where you just see somebody like flicking through colors. Cold, chill, warm, chaos, radiation, nostalgia. What? This one, chaos glow, chaos radiation, or that blue? This one? Try to watch the video. I know it's going back in time here. Blue one? Chill. This one? I'm definitely in this camp, like this direction where it's almost washed out in the background. Just makes it feel light. What is this one? Icy. Here we go. Heat map. You can get lost in this. It's like your picks can like change so much just from something. I thought the green one looked cool. The fourth one, see, everybody likes all this stuff. It's good though. This is the best part, right? It's all subjective. It's like what do you guys like? And it's always gonna be a different one. It's called Cold. This one. Here, I'll hit OK. Check this out. So we see this one. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. Let's get that full effect. All right. And then we're going to go back to what we, the one that we really like. Look at that one. I think this is the one. Feels like it's a sunny day, kind of. I don't know if I care for this spot right here. I could blur that out. But I think this is it. I think this is the jam. What do you guys think? Even dial it back a bit. Yeah. You know what we're going to do here? Let's try this. I'm going to make a layer underneath the blending mode. This is the best part of gradient maps. Now what I got to do is just find the shade of gray. Yeah, there we go. We can just sort of... Okay, so white, so black is where it gets light. What is going on? Oh, I was using the wrong tool. Sorry. Here, let's go this way. There we go. It's the best part, guys. Like, for those of you that don't use gradient maps, like, all you have to worry about is drawing in. For those that have no clue, I should probably explain what the hell this is, because it's actually very powerful. So you see the spectrum? The way to look at it, and I can always flip it. That's why this goes so dark, right? But what this is saying is, all you ever have to worry about is white to black and everything in between. So white to gray. None of the color, just white. Just monochromatic, no saturation. White to black and gray. So this is saying pure white will look like this. Pure black will look like this. All your shades of gray will only be this. So why that's cool is you can just worry about doing value, right? Like, this is all the image. Well, yeah, it's a really bad example, but it's supposed to be black and white. So if you look at the color I'm picking, right? Like, if I pick black, it'll look like this. It'll be the darkest blue that I picked. I cannot go darker than that. And what's really neat about that, right, is that it doesn't matter, because whatever your tone is, I can always change my blending mode. And the blending mode will always affect those colors like that. So it's a really awesome way to work, to be honest with you. And I recommend it because, especially for backgrounds, or even like if you're just going to start, we'll do that little like burst in the middle here, right? Is that you could always, it's like non-destructive. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because I have those values, if I went and we did this one that we were looking at, like it's just a little bit more subtle. I don't know. I think it's just a really good way to check that out. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, this is definitely the way to go. And I think I'll show you in a second here, Strata, before I go, how this works. The other thing, too, is once I have this done, right, like I can make a new layer, and I'm going to just actually try this out, get a little texture in the background. Think let's use this color, see what it looks like. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this, but sometimes it's nice to just put a little like effects in there. Just to texture it up. I'm just going to drop the let's not drop it. Maybe we can overlay, so lighten it up. Yeah, if we lower it, it'll still stay. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Masks took me a while to actually learn how to use that too. As sad as that is. Let me show this, and I'll show you like what I'm talking about. Hopefully, this will help sell it. You can also use. I've seen people use gradient maps to like actually color a character, which is really cool. So this dude, to be fair, this is probably going to look a little different. Maybe not. Yeah, let me just turn. Okay, let's not. I thought this was going to be a lot easier, sorry. Because all I care about is the background. Too many layers. Okay, here we go. All right, so where's our gradient map? Right there. So I got a bunch of gradient maps. So, I see. Okay, so this is what I was doing. The background itself, I did in chunks. So there's a lot going on here. It really shouldn't be this crazy. It's probably a really bad example. So the rocks, if you look, they're just gray. Your eye might make it feel like it's greenish or something, but that's just because the colors around it. It's literally just black and white. So I rendered it, as cheesy as it looks, and like just slapping in some grays, right? And then I put a gradient map over top of it, And let me open that up so you can see. So my pure white will only ever be that. My pure black will only ever be there. So it gives you this, but it's extremely saturated. But sometimes it looks good. You know, you might want that. So I put a hue saturation to like knock that back, and then another gradient map over top to just change it because I didn't like the gold. As you can see, like this is why I highly recommend downloading some gradient map packs. Other people have already done the work for you. You can just go here, right? So like you can see like you get these really cool fades. And what's awesome is because my medium gray is like this green to blue, and then before it even hits shadow, it's like this saturated red. You get this really neat right here because I didn't ever actually use black. Right? Like if you look over here, black is pretty black over there. And this is the best part. Like I'll show you, right? I'll only use these colors. So if I want black, I'll use an airbrush because it will be a little bit less jarring. Oops. It'll be black because of that gradient map, right? I could kind of paint in some other stuff. But then if I just wanted to go white, see, like I don't even have that color in here yet because I didn't use it anywhere. Maybe down here I did. Right, so I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is great. But all I ever did was paint in black and white. But let's say I wanted to go, you know what? I don't like that. I want to use a different gradient map now. I want to use like this one or this one. And I know it looked like here, this is a better example. It's just switching the values that are in there. I know it's probably a little harder to make sense of any of that. Maybe we got like a better example to show. I just love gradient maps for backgrounds. They're just very, I said simple and then showed you like a a nightmare of layers. Okay, please, this one might be a little bit simpler. Okay, color balance I always do. That's whatever. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I've got Olin here on his own layer, right? The background, let me turn the gradient map. I just did like this. This is way better. Yeah, masks are the best. So check this out, right? So I've got a gradient map on here. All I did is all I worried about right now is like what's the effect or the thing I want in the background. I can even go even a little bit more nutty here. We'll go like use that. So if you look over here, gray, I didn't even go pure white. So let's go pure white. Let's do like another effect back here. But this lets me always like only worry about the design that I want the background to be. Like if it's blurry, some speed lines or something. It's a starting point, and then you can start adding your effects and all that stuff later. All right, and then I could even go, okay, I also want to go a little darker too. Maybe we'll use an airbrush on this one just to darken up the corners. Oops, let's turn that on. Yeah, see? Just to like do something like that. So theoretically, it still works, right? And even if I went like this, let's knock that opacity back a little bit. Boom, cool. Something like that, right? So that gradient map's always going to work. But this lets me do whatever I want. So if I want, let's say I want to use this one. All right, so white is here, but you could also flip it too, so like your blacks are white. I know that's the crazy part. Yeah, Jason's saying it right there. Right, but you see how even this one, like I just went this way. And what's cool about this is like you can really start messing around with like your values and stuff, right? Like if you wanted to go, okay, I want to bring in some red. Photoshop is better for this because the edits you make affect it in real time. Clip Studio, you gotta like, it doesn't. It's one of the things I actually dislike about this, but and then if you slide it, and this takes in the adjustment part, but this is like now I'm going, okay, well this 75% gray is going to be this dark color, but like maybe I want 50% to be a little bit more bright. You know, you can drag these things around and adjust. You can see, it just changes your whole image, right? So like if this is where I was starting, it's like I like how that looks, and then you could go ahead and make a new layer over top, and you know, do whatever you wanted to do. Put some more effects or whatever the shiz you want to do. All right, later, dude. Yeah. Have a safe trip. And say hi to everybody for me. Alright, I'm gonna try making this like a blue. Just see what those highlights look like. No. Maybe that way without going too silly. Alright, and then the last one here we'll do is let me just select. What's going on here? There we go. So it just selects him. I'm going to pick a, maybe like this blue down here. This will be the bounce light. I'm just going to start this before I take off just so I know where to pick up next time. I'm just going to do blue because the whole environment so far has been blue. But anyway, I hope that gradient map helped you guys out. I think I learned about that from concept art. Because sometimes, well, not sometimes, but a lot of time, it's too much mental load to like think about what color you should be using. You know, like it depends on what you're doing. Like if it's, let's say even it's a pinup like this, where I'm like, okay, I don't even know if it's like if I want it to be an icy spot, or maybe you kind of know, or who knows, right? But just being able to go, just worrying about black and white, like where do you want the eye to go with just the visual flow? It absolves you of having to come up with those decisions as you're working, which is I can't even put into words how much that matters, like how much brain power you have as you're making decisions as you go. Just being able to you know, kind of like one thing at a time definitely helps. Right, this whole leg I'm almost gonna put like pure whatever. I'm gonna definitely fade all that back, but it's good to have it. And this guy's kind of looking, they're kind of looking super shiny right now, but sometimes it's a cool look. I don't know. I just know we got like a pure white background, right? So it means there's a lot of light in the scene. So it might be able to get away with all this craziness. See, you just kind of fade a little bit of it back. It still keeps its power, but like just helps round out some of these forms too. Alright, and I know I already said it, but the very last thing I'm going to do here before I go, I'm just trying to make some mental notes for myself, so when I jump back into this, already thought about it. Okay, so I've got her selected. I don't know if that includes her lines. I don't think they do, but I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm just going to use that same color, and I just want to see here, so I kind of want to just around her a little bit. Like, this is a little drastic, but see what I'm saying? Like, it just kind of... I think we're going to need like a blend mode, like an overlay or maybe a screen or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to change around the colors here. Even if we want, I don't think white is the right call here, but I'll just leave it here, just so I remember to adjust it later. But it's a subtle thing, right? You can just turn that off, but it just pushes her behind the fist a little bit. But anyway, okay, cool. Thanks, guys. I'm going to take off. Hopefully we'll do more of these coming up. I just got to come up with things to actually draw. So anyway, enjoy your night. Thanks, everybody, for the conversation. I'm glad everybody's doing well. And until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.